How long will it be like this?
I don't know, George. Betrayal is not like a case of influenza.
No, it feels more like a death sentence.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we'll be presenting our selections for the most refined yet ruthlessly snarky comebacks delivered by characters on the Gilded Age.
I'm teaching them to read and write.
But why not teach them the following day? They'll still be poor and needy on the 22nd, I promise you.
Number 10. A planned course of action. The arrival of the new money Russell family on the same street as the old money Van Rhijns immediately unsettles matriarch Agnes, and this is established early on in the first episode.
They were bound to entertain soon. They can't have built that great house to sit by the fire and read.
Well, let them entertain their own sort. Heaven knows there are plenty to choose from.
Agnes's disdain for the Russell family and her refusal to acknowledge them socially seeps down through the household and becomes a topic of conversation among the domestic workers. During one such discussion, footman Jack predicts that a time will come when the new money families will grow too influential to be ignored, forcing people like Agnes to yield. Bannister, however, wastes no time in reminding Jack of his status and restoring the proper order.
Well, because they own the future, men like Mr. Russell. And Mrs. Van Rhijn will have to come to terms with it sooner or later, stands to reason.
What will you do if she doesn't?
Me? Nothing, I guess.
Oh, I see. And you spoke so definitely, I thought you had some course of action planned in protest.
No, Mr. Bannister.
No. And don't you forget it.
Number 9. Haven't been thrilled in years. It takes quite a lot to impress someone as stoic as Mrs. Van Rhijn. Early in the first season, her secretary, Peggy Scott, is hired by the New York Globe editor T. Thomas Fortune to write a series of articles.
And I want you to write something about that, too.
About what?
What you just said. Political affiliation without voting rights. 200 words. Good to meet you, Miss Scott.
Peggy returns home later that day and shares the news with Marion, who can barely contain her excitement. However, when Agnes enters the room and inquires about the commotion, her reaction is nothing short of tepid.
This is wonderful news.
May I know this wonderful news?
You'll be thrilled.
I haven't been thrilled since 1865.
After all, 1865 was the year the American Civil War ended, and unless your news carries that kind of weight, Agnes is unlikely to react with much enthusiasm.
That is reasonable, surely.
It seems the very opposite of reasonable to me.
Number 8. The bank account of life. After George Russell secures what appears to be a mutually advantageous deal with Alderman Patrick Morris, Morris and the other aldermen renege in an attempt to cheat him.
I didn't see this coming. I admit it. I thought you were honorable men. Not too honorable to miss the chance of a fast buck, of course, but not greedy, dirty thieves.
Once George learns of their duplicity, he retaliates by buying as much stock as possible, driving the aldermen to the brink of financial ruin. In desperation, Morris sends his wife to plead with Bertha and ask her to persuade George to back down.
I want you to ask him to show a little pity. To show mercy.
For Bertha, however, Mrs. Morris's request comes entirely out of left field, considering she had never extended so much as a courtesy to her. Bertha uses the opportunity to give Mrs. Morris a pointed lesson about life's realities.
Mrs. Morris, I hesitate to teach the basics, but life is like a bank account. You cannot write a check without first making a deposit.
Number 7. Monsieur Baudin from Wichita, Kansas.
Is everything all right?
Not exactly so.
I hope this doesn't mean you're handing in your notice.
No, but it may result in my dismissal.
In the season 1 finale, it's revealed that the Russell chef, Monsieur Baudin, had been deceiving everyone. Far from being a sophisticated cook from Gay Paris, he is exposed to actually be Josh Borden from Wichita, Kansas, who passed himself off as French in order to secure the job.
And so he became Monsieur Baudin?
He was quite settled into the role when we met him.
What's his real name?
Borden. Josh Borden.
Before he is forced to leave the house, Baudin attempts to justify his actions to the other servants. When he is asked by one of the maids why he continues to speak in a French accent, he explains that it has simply become second nature. His answer is, however, met with a snarky remark from Church.
This is who I have been for years, and now it's hard to break the habit.
If your name is Josh Borden and you come from Wichita, I think you've got to try.
Number 6. An uncomfortable day of travel. Sisters Agnes and Ada have very different reactions to the news of their brother Henry's passing. While Ada is a bit sympathetic, despite Henry squandering all of their inheritance, Agnes can't seem to get past that betrayal.
More likely, she has discovered her father left her without a penny to her name. Henry couldn't provide for a dog in a ditch.
After they learn that Henry's daughter, Marian, will be moving in with them, Ada voices her regret over missing his funeral. Agnes, however, dismisses the idea, making it clear that she would never inconvenience herself on her brother's account.
We should have gone for the funeral anyway.
It wasn't worth an uncomfortable day of travel to make sure Henry was dead.
Her contempt for Henry remains unwavering even after Marian arrives, resulting in a tense exchange between the two in which Marian reproaches her aunt for speaking poorly about her father.
I suppose you only recently learned that your father had let you down.
Please don't speak ill of Daddy.
I will say what I like in my own house.
Not to me.
Number 5. Copulate about and become learned. From the moment Peggy Scott steps foot in the Van Rhijn household, she's met with open hostility from Mrs. Armstrong.
Are we to share the same bathroom, the same water closet?
She can hardly use a bucket under the stairs.
Is that right, Mr. Bannister?
It's not for us to have an opinion.
This tension ultimately drives Peggy to resign from her secretarial position with Agnes in the first season. Later, when Peggy agrees to return, Agnes urges Armstrong to change her behavior towards Peggy. But the lady's maid remains defiant.
Your fate is in your hands. If you show kindness to Miss Scott, then you may keep your position.
But ma'am...
I see you have mistaken this for a discussion when I am simply giving an order.
Despite the warning from Mrs. Van Rhijn, Armstrong still refuses to accord Peggy any respect, even after she helps her with some sewing. This pushes Peggy way past her breaking point, to the extent that she loses her composure.
I have no quarrel with you, Miss Armstrong. I mean it. But I promise you do not want one with me.
It is basically her own way of saying F around and find out. Number 4. Pride and Prejudice. Agnes may work tirelessly to keep the Russells at arm's length, but her son Oscar couldn't be more determined to close the gap. Not only does he maneuver his way into getting invited for luncheon at their house, he summarily brings Larry over to meet his mother, a gesture she certainly does not appreciate.
Mr. Russell, Mama. We were at the luncheon together, and he's anxious to know you. I'm afraid I've rather pushed into your tea party, Mrs. Van Rhijn.
Don't worry, we have so much cake.
Oscar later points out to her that the Russells are their social equals, given that they live just across the street. But one cannot expect something as trivial as facts to shake Agnes's deep-rooted convictions.
The Russells live in your village, Mama. I could throw a stone from here and break their windows.
Don't tease me.
I'm not. I'm stating facts.
I'm not concerned with facts. Not if they interfere with my beliefs.
I give you Prejudice in a nutshell.
When she eventually retreats to her room in frustration, Oscar makes it clear that her prejudice won't be going away anytime soon.
I'm going up to change.
I doubt it, Mama. I'd say you will come down again without having changed at all.
Number 3. Me a bastard, you a fool.
You've made your point, Mr. Russell. We've taken you for a fool when it is we who are the fools.
I won't fight you on that one.
George Russell is a man driven by ambition, and when he sets his sights on a goal, he spares no expense in achieving it. After John Thorburn rejects his 2 offers to buy a stretch of railroad line, George decides to spend a fortune building an entirely new one, just to put Thorburn out of business.
I turned down your offer because I thought you'd come back with more. It's called negotiation.
Not in my book, Mr. Thorburn.
At first, Thorburn views this as reckless spending, but when he realizes George's true intentions, he comes to see him less as a simpleton and more as a calculating schemer.
You bastard.
I may be a bastard, Mr. Thorburn, but you are a fool. And of the two, I think I know which I prefer.
To George, however, it's only a small price to pay for the lesson he intends to teach, that his second offer is always his last. Number 2. You're talking nonsense, George. Bertha Russell is quite certain she knows best, especially when it comes to deciding who her daughter Gladys should marry.
What I feel for Billy is real. Billy will never achieve anything of note, and he will grow to resent you for his own shortcomings.
He's from a good family. 3 years ago, you would have begged to be invited into their drawing room.
We've overtaken them now.
To that end, she orchestrates a union with the Duke of Buckingham, despite the fact that George had previously promised to let Gladys marry a man of her choice. After a dinner with the Duke and his sister on the eve of the wedding, George raises his misgivings about the arrangement once again.
I like things my way, yes, but...
But what?
I wish I was convinced that what you want is right for Gladys.
He suggests Gladys might, in fact, be happier with a much simpler life. The very notion of this is preposterous to Bertha, who snarkily suggests that George retire for the night and sleep off his foolishness.
And that would have been enough for you?
If it's enough for her, what do my ambitions matter?
Go to bed, George, and wake up sensible.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. You don't read. Armstrong's contempt for Peggy rubs off on innocent Bridget.
Why is he writing you? He wants to meet, to discuss publishing some of my short stories.
What? I've never known anyone who's had something published in the paper.
Why should you care? You don't read.
I get by.
Stick to Louisa May Alcott. Agnes never passes up an opportunity to belittle Ada.
We don't know her at all, of course.
We know she's a kind person, Agnes. And I do not believe she would ever do anything self-destructive.
Self-destructive? You've been reading those German books again. I've warned you before, just stick to Louisa May Alcott.
Even Benedict Arnold had a reason. Agnes isn't at all pleased when Bannister has to leave the house.
What would we say if a surgeon suddenly flung down his scalpel and went off to see a fasting lawyer?
I'm sure he has a reason.
Benedict Arnold had a reason when he tried to sell West Point to the British.
The broken backbone of society. Oscar can't hide his annoyance at being forced to attend the Academy of Music.
I see all the skeletons and ghouls are here.
They may be old, but they are the backbone of society.
A broken back, if you ask me.
I've not asked you anything, nor do I intend to.
The usual precautions of a housewife. Agnes struggles to understand why Oscar failed to carry out his due diligence.
Aunt Agnes, Oscar didn't...
Oscar didn't what? Make inquiries? Check Miss Beaton's history? Take the usual precautions that any sane housewife would take. Just to order a loaf of bread? No, you're right, he didn't.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Skin of a Rhinoceros. Oscar van Rhijn truly is the son of his mother. Of all the characters, he is the only one who can match her quick wit and acerbic tongue.
How long will she be staying?
Why?
Well, I'll already have Aunt Ada around my neck. That's if anything should happen to you.
Why must you always sound so sharp?
As mentioned earlier, Oscar tries to ingratiate himself with the Russell family in the first season, much to Agnes's dismay. In the third episode, after finally securing a seat at the Russells' luncheon, he breaks the news to Agnes, who unsurprisingly doesn't take it well. But it is Oscar's clever response to her caustic remark that steals the moment.
Oh, I'm dining with Larry Russell.
Where?
At his parents' house, of course.
When you say those words, you stab me in the side.
And it's lucky you have the skin of a rhinoceros.
The layers to the joke are boundless, and it only proves that in a war of words, Agnes's most dangerous adversary is none other than the son she raised.
Mama, you are incorrigible.
I take that as the highest praise.
What are your favorite quotes from the Gilded Age? Share them in the comments below.
When I see what I really want, I take it if I can.
I suspect that's something you should try to control if you don't intend to spend time in a police cell.